Well, good afternoon, everybody. And welcome to Lunch with the Genius. I appreciate all of you taking time out of your schedules to be here. Please continue eating and help yourself to more food as we go through the day. You can stay here as long as you like. I know we have some people on Zoom. This is stream, so I know we have several people that have joined on Zoom as well, and then we will get to the little question and answer time, so we involve everybody. This is a very casual time, and we get to know one of our geniuses at Missouri State. And right now, I'm going to bring another genius up here to give a university update. And would you please welcome our 11th president of Missouri State University, Cliff Smart.
Somebody else was giving the update. We had a genius coming up, but anyway, welcome everyone. Let me probably still here. Let me see you going. Oh, there you are. Okay, so I want to introduce a couple people that are here. If you haven't met our student governor, Bradley Cooper, over here, stand up. Yeah, so I suspect that we have already met Bradley. But if you haven't, he's a great asset, and get a chance to meet him. Our provost is with us as well, Dr. Jasinski here. The big news this week is this was census week, and so we got all our enrollment data. It was official as of Monday. 5 weeks into the semester, and I thought I'd share good news. The pandemic took a lick out of almost everyone's enrollment for a couple of years, and so we had been down the last few years. But this year, all good news. Total enrollment on the Springfield campus, 24,224 students, up 917. Biggest jump in freshman classes year over year ever, up 504 freshmen from a year ago for a class of 2,782. We set yet another record. I think it's the 5th in a row on graduate enrollment, 4,295, of which 10 are in a brand new clinical psychology doctoral program that we partnered with Burrell. And so our first cohort is on campus and taking classes. On the revenue side, really important that credit hours grew by 3.4%. You all might remember last year Dr. Jasinski had just arrived, and we gave him the job of cutting $5 million out of his budget, I think in the first week, and somehow he's still here, and having achieved that, and so this year we don't have that worry, and it's amazing how much the college meetings are different when numbers are good, as opposed to when numbers are less good. Maybe just as important as any of these, our retention rate from freshmen to sophomores had also gone down during the pandemic. And so up 3.5% to 79.3%, that also is an all-time high. And so things are mostly back to normal, and we're back on the growth trajectory and feel very good about where we are. In terms of getting back to normal, Brett Bodenhausen, who's our Vice President for Community and Global Partnerships, John and I are headed to China a week from Monday. It will be my first trip in over 4 years as we work to connect to all of our major partners and add additional partners as China has opened back up, and very excited about that trip, although I'll get back at midnight the Wednesday before homecoming, and so if you catch me sleeping somewhere, you know why. But really good thing, good to be back in kind of the normal swing of things, doing those things that we like to do and that make Missouri State a special place. Brent, back to you.
Melissa, come on up, please welcome our genius, Melissa Bledsoe. So, and of course, Usually we have a dean, do a little general introduction before, genius comes up here, but she's the interim dean, so, so you don't, you miss that. So, and you're a Missouri State alum. When you started your first day here at Missouri State, did you say, hey, someday I'm gonna take over the college?
No, that was not on my mind. I'm very grateful for the opportunity now.
Oh, very good. Okay, let's start from the beginning. So where did you grow up? Where were you born?
I grew up in northern Illinois, and where those Quad Cities are, the borders, Iowa, Illinois, right on the river. So how did I get to just outside of Moline, Illinois? Anyone know why Moline's famous? John Deere, right? See, I like to read in the- that's good. Yeah, my father was an engineer for John Deere. He was an engineer trained at Rolla. So we are kind of transplanted up to northern Illinois. So I grew up up near the Quad Cities in John Deere country. But my family is from Centralia, Missouri,
Oh.
near Columbia. So that's where all my family is kind of stayed put in Missouri. So I spent most of my childhood coming down to Missouri, trips to Missouri, vacationed in Missouri. So I think I'm Missourian at heart. And now I've lived in Missouri longer than Illinois. So I definitely claim Missouri now.
So Centralia, Missouri, so did you know a famous person from there that worked here?
Yes, she played basketball
Yeah,
games on the first women's basketball. team
Really?
there.
Yeah, Cheryl Burnett was from Centralia, Missouri. So how did you hear about Missouri State, or did you always have that on your mind that, hey, I'd like to go there?
Yeah, I actually started my freshman year at Truman State, and long story short, I realized I didn't want to be an accountant anymore. And I was looking for horticulture programs.
No, hold it. Where does accounting stuff?
I don't know. I thought, well, I do.
Dean
this,
Minor
but-
got excited about that. So you were interested in accounting?
It lasted a semester.
Oh, okay. So you weren't a good accountant? Is that right? It's just numbers anyway, but go ahead,
I
sorry.
started looking for horticulture programs and visited here, met Dr. Kiwatha, and I just loved the campus, the size of the campus and the town. So I moved way down, which felt very far south at that point in time. You know, we're south in Rolla, so but loved it. I moved to Springfield and just loved it.
So when you were in elementary school, was ag, I mean, that was obviously ingrained in you, that's a bad word, but that was something that you said, hey, this is my future?
Not necessarily. That came a little later. I'm a couple generations off the farm in my family, but always helped with the garden and the landscaping and all of that. So we had connections. But I never thought I could do that for a career. Thus, maybe the accounting route at first. But then I took one of those tests, you know, the career tests. He worked in a career center. And it said horticulture. I'm like, I can do this for a living. This is great. So I went immediately to plants after that. So it just came from a love of hobbies, of working in the garden with my parents, of doing the landscaping at the house. And then just kind of followed my interest in plants from there.
So you're an expert in soils, and the title of this is basically nutrition starts with soil. So expand on that.
Sure. So through my training, I got to work with a lot of plants, but eventually ended up in plant physiology, learning how plants work. And actually started researching nutrition. So where does all the nutrients come from? I mean, it starts with the soil, right? So naturally, I ended up studying soils too. So it's that soil plant continuum for mineral nutrition. And I've taught soils here I taught it for 10 years here, and I just love teaching about soil. I'll keep calling it soil, not the other word for it. It's soil. If you say that other word, you get a D in class. No, but it starts with learning about the soil dynamics, and it all translates to the plant.
So tell us about obviously soil here is different than other, do we have soil here?
A little.
We just have dirt here. Oh, I said the word. Okay, sorry. But the state obviously is totally different, in terms of that.
Sure. I mean, I grew up in northern Illinois where the soil is, prairie soils, they're really black, beautiful, prairie soils. I moved down here and what is this stuff? This is not soil. Red clay soil with lots and lots of rocks. We learned that real quick. But there's still a purpose for Missouri has at least half of the different types of soil orders in the whole world. We've got a lot of different soils here in the state, so it's fun to study and quiz students on that. But from the northern part of the state where we can grow a lot of row crops to down here, there's just everything, all types of soils, prairie soils and then our Ozark soils. But there's production ability on any of those soils. So we might have different agriculture down here because of those, but we can still utilize that for, a lot of different types of crops.
So, agriculture, probably our number one is industry in the state. So how do you, I mean, obviously our number of students are growing in the college, but do you see the interest from the state and the region increasing, staying the same? But I mean, basically, what's the future of agriculture and how important is it for students to be involved in this discipline?
That's a great question. We could talk all day about this one question. I'd say, if you think of your typical historical agricultural student, right? They might come from a rural school, from FFA, and they go right into the industry. And we still have a lot of those students as our base, especially from this region. But we're also expanded a lot. The agriculture industry, you don't have to be you don't have to be a producer to be part of the industry. There's so many facets of agriculture that have amazing job markets. So we have students that come from a lot more students that come from cities, big cities, St. Louis, more urban areas. What are they studying? Ag business, and the business is associated with the industry. It is the largest industry in the state. We have students who want to go into pre-vet and maybe work with small animals. The pet industry is gigantic. You know where you spend your money, you spend it on your dog, right? That's a huge industry. We have a lot of horticulture students and plant science students that want to go into the biotech industry. It's a whole gamut of options within ag. So that's kind of our goal, is to get out there and showcase to these students. Even if you have one little interest, like, hey, you like to work in the garden, you can turn that into a career in plant biotechnology if you want to. So the face of ag students is changing, and we're catering to a lot of our program development caters to a lot of those pockets to get kind of a different face of agriculture going in the future. There is so much technology in ag. So we want to get those, those biology minded students work in plant biotech, those mechanical or data science students. Agriculture is full of precision ag and data science. So there's a lot of options.
So what scares you about the future of agriculture, whether it's in soils, whether it's what is something that's saying this does make me a little nervous?
That's a good question. What scares you? Keeps you up at night?
Yeah. Are we getting, and maybe another way of looking at it, is there a shortage of land? I mean, is that an issue around the country? It is around the world, but around the country. And then what are the other alternatives?
Yes, from the soil standpoint, I talked about this on day one in soils class. We have to conserve what we have, right? We've been depleting our soils either from natural causes or overuse. We get down to 0.1% of the world's soils is arable. It's maybe not that statistic. I gotta remember my first lecture here, but we're continually trying to grow more food on fewer arable soils. So soil conservation is gigantic right now, and that's where the future of soil conservation and soil health, that's where a lot of our entities are working towards, and the research is going towards that, because we know we can't do anything unless we have healthy soils. You can't grow food, you can't have civilizations. Civilizations rise and fall based on how they treat their soils and how much they have. So it is a finite resource, and it can take hundreds of thousands of years to develop a topsoil or more. So it can be bulldozed in 5 seconds, and it can take thousands or hundreds of thousands of years to form. So there's a huge push in science for soil conservation and soil health. There's a lot of funding in that area. Because we need to keep our soils healthy, figure out how we can keep producing and produce more. There's a charge that we're gonna need to produce more food as the population increases. But how can we do that while conserving our soils and keeping our current soils healthy and maybe even better? This takes a little time and a lot of management.
And this is not just Missouri kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
There are a lot of global impacts with the college. I mean, you have a lot of international students. Tell us some of the programs and how that relates internationally.
Most definitely. I mean, we've reached across all kinds of interesting countries over the past decade and have worked to help, not kind of like outreach towards those communities, but also to help develop the students who are the future leaders in ag. We have a lot of partnerships in China. We have a lot of students. We visited there several times and have a lot of students currently even over here doing some programs in plant science. So they understand that connection of global agriculture. We can go, we even went to Haiti. This was a few years ago. I don't think it'd be stable to go there today, but we went there to work on soil conservation in small towns there. So it reaches every community across the world. I don't think you can find one place that won't have this as an issue, right? Or that they're trying to sustain their soils and regenerate the soils they have.
So if land is an issue, I mean, is agriculture moving to the ocean, to the waters?
Most definitely. I mean, there's ways to farm in the ocean. I've seen some very interesting ideas of like underground hydroponic or underwater hydroponic pods. I don't know if we have to go that far. We're really learning quickly with modern technology and how to rebuild our soils on land. But yeah, we have to think about how can we keep growing the food in areas with, with different climates, different temperatures, different soils, because we're all moving north. I mean, we think about this as like if I want to catch your attention, I'll say, what about your coffee, right? Coffee, let's say coffee. Let's think about coffee. Coffee, the land that coffee is grown on is usually tropical and higher elevation and extremely erodible. And they're having a lot of issues of keeping the coffee plantations going. Ooh, coffee, right? What about chocolate? Same thing with chocolate, all the good things in life, right?
You've touched a hot topic.
Yeah, I mean, we can go straight to wine.
Let's do.
We actually have a lot of research in wine grape production here at the Fruit Station at Missouri State, and we're very proud of those programs because I saw they're saving the wine. And we think that there's a lot of issues with grape production, and in Europe, even they're going more north because it's getting too hot and dry where historically they've been growing grapes, and now they're moving vineyards up north, like in northern England and things like that. So where does Missouri State come into play? Well, our researchers are working on taking Missouri grapes, which are extremely hardy. You gotta be hardy to live here, right? You gotta survive our crazy winters and our spring frosts. You've got to put up with a lot of diseases and insects in our humid climates. And these are hardy grapes. Do they make the best wine? They make pretty good wine, right? But they're working on identifying the genetic markers of those hardy traits to put into the European wines, or the ones that you think about in the grocery store for wine, and creating varieties that can withstand these pressures. So they have over time, so like in 20, 30 years, we still have the wine that we like to enjoy. So there's a lot of different facets that are focusing on the issues with the changes in the world.
So even, were those discussed in the classroom 20 years ago?
Yes, not to there's a big difference, I think, even in my soils classes, from when I took the classes here to what we're integrating the classes now. And in general, the agricultural industry, there's a bigger emphasis and focus on conservation and soil health. These words weren't brought up much. Conservation, yes, there's conservation practices for erosion control, but now we're really focused on organic matter, carbon, and all those microorganisms that live in soil, just how important they are to overall land and continental health. Like the carbon store for carbon, it's a huge carbon sink. It's a huge freshwater sink for our water issues. So there's been a shift to focus on soils over in a lot of entities and a lot of disciplines. So I tell my students, we're kind of in a wave of, there's a lot of soil conservationist openings and job opportunities. It's a big, I call it infiltrating. Our students are getting the job all over the place. It's wonderful to see. But soil conservation is here to stay, and they're recognizing the importance of it. So we'll continue to see, monetary inputs into that, and the agencies that support that. I also tell my students, man, if you want to go, even in plant nutrition, I'm a physiologist. I'm a kind of a classical physiologist, but even in plant nutrition, it's where the soil organisms are. We're learning so much about biology and soil and the connections with plant growth and agriculture. Like, if you want to be a rock star 20 years from now, go into soil microbiology. That's the forefront of soil science right now.
So, of course, we've had a ag department, ag college for a long, long time. Ag education in the secondary schools, how do you perceive that? Growing, staying the same, downward trend?
I think our ag education programs are, so you're saying like in the high school?
In the high schools, are we getting enough interest? Are we getting enough involvement so we can continue that trend?
I would say in this region, FFA is so strong, and our ag programs are so strong in the Southwest region. They are very serious about their, competitions, and they place at state all the time. We are kind of a hotbed for FFA, and we appreciate those programs because they bring students and showcase just how much you can do in it. And of course, we hope they continue their education with us. And a lot of our students come completely excited about agriculture. Maybe they're like, I love soils. And I'm like, you had a good FFA teacher. Because it rubs off on those students. So I think it's extremely strong in this region. We're developing even FFA programs in the Springfield public school system with a new one coming on in Glendale. It's super exciting to see that focus. So I only see it growing because, again, where agriculture reaches across into urban areas, and we're getting to see that more and more in urban schools too. So I think it's going to just keep growing.
So what will the college be like 20, 30 years from now? What will it look like? And okay, a day from now, then I look back, but
It'll be a short projection.
yeah, no, that's good.
I hope it's even bigger 20 years from now. But we have such a diversity of programs in the college. Ranging from a lot of people have seen our horse equine center to our plant biotech to our farms all across the region. And we cater to a lot of different types of agriculture students. There's certain areas though that we will obviously focus on and grow. And one of those, we're in beef country, right? We are in the top area of beef production in the state and probably in the region. It's ingrained in our agriculture here. So I want to focus on, we have a lot of wonderful faculty and facilities that if we connect the dots and can get it working together, we can have a gigantic beef and forage program. My forage background, I'm a little biased for that. But wouldn't you all want to be eating Missouri State beef right now?
Yeah.
Right? We've had that in the past. I see that as a huge increase because we are in cattle country and our students come from those farms. Another area of extreme growth is right now is small animals and pre-vet. The pet industry and pre-vet students, I mean, these students are coming in the droves to want to be a veterinarian. Does that always work out? Not always, because being a vet is extremely rigorous program to get, just like med school. So not all of them end up wanting to be a vet, but they want to be in that industry. So the pet industry, the small animal, we got a new facility out of the DAR Center for small animal education. That program is gonna continue to grow because that interest is continuing to grow. And that's another way to get a lot of urban students to Missouri State. Oh man, there's just so many areas of growth. So within 5-year projection, yeah, we're gonna definitely see some areas, but 20 years, what are we gonna be? I hope, this is me from a student, that we can grow in these areas, but I don't wanna lose the student connection. Because what has made us separate from other institutions, I won't name, okay? Other institutions that students could go. Why did I come here? What do I try to give my students, and why do I want them to come here, right? It's that connection with the faculty and the staff. It's we call it the care factor. It's really caring about our students and working with them. We advise them one-on-one. Like if I have a grad student, I'm working with them in the lab. I'm working with them and training them, right? We put a lot of time and effort into our students, and they understand that and feel that presence. They feel that community in the college. So I think no matter how big we get, big isn't always better, right? How big's important, that we keep that atmosphere of Missouri State Ag. That's my goal too. Coming as an alum, a lot of alum have this feeling. We have a strong alumni base because of that feeling and the experiences we've had. So I want to keep that growing for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you have a tight knit program. I mean, from the alumni, not just in ag, but we hear that from alums all over the country. It's that connection with faculty that is not replicated necessarily every institution. So, so definitely have evidence what you just said about that. But yeah, you have a tight knit group. But you comment on facilities. I mean, boy, we added the Jernigan Ranch, the Shealy Farm, the Kendrick Farm. Obviously, the DAR Center is just unbelievable. The Bond Learning Center and yada, yada, yada. It goes on and on. How important are those facilities?
I mean, it's a huge asset for us to be able to grow our programs with those facilities already in place. I mean, it's almost mind-boggling when you think about all these things that we have that one to take care of, but also to utilize for that student education. I mean, it takes a lot to keep a farm going, right? And our goal, my top goal and our top goal is to get students to those facilities because we want hands-on. You know, in the time of a lot of online and flexibility that we need to offer to get students here, they're all about hands-on when it comes down to it. You can't claim to be an animal science without working with animals, right? So these facilities are huge for our programs. And we have some of the top ones in the state, including Jernigan Ranch. How can we get more students down there and intern and live and breathe that ranch to learn from the professionals there, and including all our facilities? We have Kendrick Farm now out near the airport where we can do row crop production. Row crop production in Southwest Missouri, that's amazing. So we have our John Deere combine, it's gotta be green. It's happens to be green. And we're working with students in row crop production as well. And really looking forward to growing that precision ag side of the program. So I kind of lost my thought. I got off on John Deere again.
That's good thought though. We have some pictures we want to show. I want you to comment on some of these pictures. Yeah, I think you've seen some of these. So give us a scoop there.
This is the early 90s, if you can't tell. This is my family. I picked this because it's standing in front of my granny's garden. So this is in Centralia, in front of Granny's garden, where I first loved to work with her and the plants in the garden. So, but my parents, dad has the John Deere hat, he brought the mustache back then, and my older sister Jennifer, and our older brother Aaron, And they're all three, Dad, Jenny, and Aaron are all engineers. They're all engineers, and so I'm the only non-engineer of the siblings. I'm more like my mom in that way, she was a teacher, so,
Oh, good.
yeah.
And at the University of Illinois shirt, gotta
Yeah.
get rid of that, okay. Yeah, you got a Chicago Bulls hat, so that's all right. Okay, the next.
Oh, this is another family photo.
Yeah.
So this is my maiden name is Remley, so this is the Remley family, candy. And if you're on the candy making list, you're struggling. We get together, the women of the family get together every year, we make over 600 pounds of candy, chocolate. It is. It's, I realize not every family does it. But we do, and every year it's.
You still do it, you still do it?
Still do it, yeah.
And then, and you talk about soil when you're doing this, right? Yeah. Great.
We need a lot of lab techniques and how to persevere in the lab when we have so much to do.
Yeah.
It's work ethic there.
All right, let's advance.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so on the left is Rocky. He's my sweet schnauzer. And just showcasing that he likes to climb rocks. And he's been to the top elevation of 4 different states now.
Wow.
And I haven't quite done that in Colorado yet, but he's working at it. And we like to go hiking and camping. On the right is my husband Grant and I at Sapphire Point. It's near Frisco, Colorado. And we love Colorado. We got engaged there. We got married right there.
Oh, wow.
And I think it was a conspiracy by Grant because that way we have an excuse to go back every year.
It's a good one.
It's a good spot. Yeah.
All right, advance.
Oh, this is, you see SMS there. This is back in the day when I was a horticulture student here, and the horticulture club was doing some landscaping for Habitat for Humanity. Then we were building 1 or 2 houses a year with Habitat, and the club would come and do landscaping. And we're digging holes there, not too rocky there, but I will say, the first outing with horticulture club, they gave me a pickaxe. And after one of them, I'm like, pickaxe, I've never used one of these before. They're like, you've never dug a hole. And so I was learning. Yeah.
It's dangerous work. All right, excellent there.
This is my analytical lab in Carl's Hall where we analyze soils and plants. And we got a lot of students in there and colleague, Dr. Will McLean. He's been my colleague since he was my TA in undergrad. We were in the same lab for PhDs and beyond. So we cross over quite a bit. I like this picture because this is actually New Year's Eve.
What?
Dedicated students, like get in the lab and do it while the instrumentation's working, right? You gotta do that work when you can. And so this is right before, this is not late at night, but we're like, don't stop till the ball drops, you know? Like, so I have great memories of this group in the lab.
Good one. Yeah, excellent.
This is some, on the left is me and my postdoc. I worked for Cotton Incorporated. The cotton symbol that you see on your clothes. This is through the Ritchie lab at Mizzou. And my work was on cotton carbohydrate dynamics of little seedlings. So we would travel down to the boot heel and have our plots down in the boot heel of cotton. And I would be out there measuring photosynthesis. That's a portable photosynthesis analyzer of cotton from when the time they come up to their whole vegetative growth through the season. And I will have to wear that hat because I realized maybe I'm fair skinned and maybe I shouldn't be a photosynthesis physiologist. You gotta be out there from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. peaks, the peak sun time. So I learned how to get some big hats. On the right is a couple of our students at Ningxia in Ningxia, China on a trip. I took a group of students there that year and they're working with goji berries. And they make tea, not just the berries themselves, but they make tea from the leaves. And they grew goji berry greens, like vegetative growth that they would saute and eat. I say that because the guy in the green hat is Jess Carroll. He ended up doing his master's with me and we worked with goji berries here at the Dar Center. So we brought the goji berry concept back home and did some goji berry greens work here. And now Jess, he went to get his PhD and we hired him. And he's working at the fruit experiment station with his research experience in raspberries and blackberries. So he's a new faculty member, and it all got started here, with the goji berries.
That's good. Excellent.
Got it. On the John Deere, yeah. So, this was a handful of years ago, but I got to take the agronomy club. We always go to the contest, the regional contest for agronomy. This year was hosted at the Quad Cities at my hometown, so I had a great time taking them around all the John Deere spots. And growing up, whenever somebody visited us, we went and climbed on the John Deere's, it's at the international headquarters. And so I was just thrilled to get my Missouri State students up here. And driving past all the fields, they're like, did they do a controlled burn on that field? I go, no, that's how black the soil is. We reached that, and I wish we could sell it over a really good profit.
Okay, excellent.
So, this is, my former student, Sarah. She graduated and is now getting her PhD at Cornell in, apple genetics. I worked with her on an undergraduate project, for her honors project, and we made the mind's eye cover there, so we were, sending it out to other people in the lab. But even though she didn't stay here for a master's, I couldn't blame her for going to Cornell, but I view her as my student and got her going in her direction. That's great.
Very good, very good. Okay, now we're gonna go to a quick lightning round. Whatever comes to your mind, you just say, you can't really think about it. And then we'll get to, we have a student, then we're gonna get to your questions. Okay, first one, corn or soybeans?
Soybean.
Okay, I don't know why I asked that
nitrogen
question, but
fixation.
yeah, I like soybeans over corn. Corn's not a. Okay.
Soybeans fix their own nitrogen and they have cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Your favorite food?
Fried chicken.
Fried chicken, yeah. Morning person or night owl?
These days I have to be a morning person. By choice I'd be a night owl. Forced to be a morning person.
Well, what's morning person to you?
Getting up at 4:30 every day.
Yeah, that's morning.
Yeah.
Movies or books?
Oh, both, but lean towards books. I tend to collect books more than read them, but my intention is good.
That is. So when you're not working, what would you be doing?
These days, it's gardening and
Yeah.
canning from the garden. Every moment, spare moment we had past year.
Favorite TV show?
Oh goodness. Grey's Anatomy, long running show.
Comedy or dramas?
Drama.
Okay, best place to relax on campus?
Relax.
And you don't have to answer that. You don't want to?
Russell Greenhouse, you can go up there and clear your thoughts pretty well and escape.
Okay, I'll do that next time. In person or Zoom?
Oh, in person.
Yeah, bless your heart. Okay, your best vacation spot?
Frisco, Colorado.
Yeah, got that right. Very good. Corey, come on up. This is Corey Reichmuth. And he's a grad student. Corey, did I get your name?
Yes.
Sort of correct. Okay, I'm gonna have you sit here. So tell us about yourself, where you're from, and how you got to Missouri State.
So I'm from, I'm from Florissant, Missouri, which is northern St. Louis. And I am more of a non-traditional ag student. I grew up in a much more urban environment, didn't have FFA in high school, but I decided to go the pre-med route originally when I went to a different university before I transferred to Missouri State. But there I got accepted into an undergrad research position. It was a botany lab where I got to do research and went to Alaska and did research on endangered native plant species. And that's kind of where my initial passion developed for learning about plants. But I knew I wanted to learn more about agriculture. So that's why I decided to transfer to Missouri State in fall 2021. And Dr. Bledsoe was one of my first professors that first semester for soil science. And I've had several classes for undergrad with Dr. Bledsoe. In May, I just got my bachelor's in plant science and I'm working as the TA for soil science at grad school. Dr. Bledsoe.
So, I take it she's inspired you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So expand on that. Tell us what excites you, about soils?
Well, speaking specifically, I guess, about soils, I'd say one of the main things I learned was maintaining healthy soils and the value of soils. Because, like I said, I'm, from urban St. Louis, I had no idea about agriculture. I was very ignorant towards it until I got to the But throughout Dr. Bledsoe's classes, I really learned about the important role that soil plays in agriculture, which it really is, which a lot of people just overlook soil and they call it the bad word. But there's so much value in soils, and just even small adjustments and small efforts to really improve your soil fertility can have a large impact on crops and livestock that we feed. And I think it's really just exciting that I can be a very small part in one of the largest industries and lifestyle for many people, which the ultimate goal is to really ensure food security for future generations.
So what are your plans after you're getting your master's?
I'm still deciding, but I really wanted to go into research, specifically mostly with crops, maybe biotech, but definitely the more research about.
So you gotta be proud, Dr. Bledsoe.
Definitely, yeah. We're just beginning on his research too, so that'll be fun.
So Corey, did you, when you were young, I mean, you're young. You're very, very young, but when you were young, agriculture wasn't, a part of the equation of going to college?
No, I'm first generation college, and I'm sure agriculture somewhere down the line is somewhere in my family for sure, but not anywhere too close. But I knew I wanted to go into a career with helping people, and that's why I initially wanted to go into pre-med. I was so fixated on that, and then once I got my undergrad research position, like world shift, complete different path, and I realized that agriculture was the route I needed to learn about if I wanted to pursue.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I know, all the faculty, are proud of you and what you're doing, and that's exactly what we had this conversation about the future of agriculture, and this is a great example. Let's go to questions, of anything related, to agriculture out in the group or online. Karen, we'll start with you.
I think you made a remark about regrowing soil.
Yes,
Could you explain a little bit?
yes, you'll hear the term like regeneration or soil regeneration. And that's really management practices that can bring back soil into its structure, its organic matter, and its nutritional value over time. So that. Right, so there's practices that we can do to kind of. Okay. It was me, operator error. So she asked a question about soil regeneration and how we can basically build back soils. And we can do that in our own backyard, right? But we can do this on a large scale as well. And that's where a lot of soil conservation practices are focusing on, not just maintaining what we have, but rebuilding back the nutrition, especially the organic matter and the structure that might have been harmed or destroyed over time. With certain practices and animal management on those fields, you can regenerate soil. And that's been, I know a lot of students hear that and are interested in that because they know a lot of soils are out of practice because they're not useful anymore. So their generation, it's all about you guys. That generation is tasked at figuring out how to make those productive again. So it's a very interesting topic and a lot of research going on in that field.
Very good. You had a question?
Yeah. My family of farmers too. And right now, mostly beef, raising their own hay. And you mentioned a few times the small pet veterinarian, but I never did hear you mention a large animal veterinarian. And my family is kind of their own veterinarians, because they don't have a large animal veterinarian around. Are you doing anything to inspire students to go into large animal vet?
Yes, most definitely. So that pre-vet program is very popular. And in this region, we do get a lot of students with history of large animals, horses or beef, that want to be large animal vets. There's actually a huge need for more large animal vets, because the real surge of interest comes from urban, pet owners that are exposed to the small dog, cat industry, and they want to be a small animal vet, because that's what they were exposed to. So we have a lot of students in that area, but we also support large animal. And coming from Southwest Missouri, where there's a large demand, I mean, they have just every option to go on to vet school, and we'll train them here too. So we do both. We have a large cattle program and equine program to have animals for them to be trained on as well. So don't want to, yes, that is definitely a large part of the pre-vet.
How many students are in that program, or do you know?
Oh my goodness, I would say pre-vet specifically, I would say over, I don't want to say around 60. Now they're probably saying, no, it's bigger than that. But I know we have around 120-ish students in animal science, and I know more than half of them are interested in pre-vet or large animal science like that.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yep, other questions out there? Yes,
I have a dear friend who has gotten into urban flower farming, is what she calls it, flower farming. Do you do any courses on urban gardening, urban farming?
Yes, so question about urban flowers and urban gardening courses. We have a very popular class called Suburban Horticulture, and it's kind of an overview class. It's even taught online, and they'll mail you a kit to do labs with. Very popular course. But our horticulture program and all those classes, thinking about vegetable production to floriculture and propagation and all that. Yes, they'll cover the production side of that industry, but it also covers small farms or small growers too. So it's integrated in a lot of our classes. We actually have a suite of those classes, and you can earn a certificate called a Sustainable Food Production Certificate. And you learn all those skills that can be translated to growing vegetables to growing flowers.
you gonna sign up? Okay, yes.
So,
Melissa, I like to go to Millset Farms for pizza night and things like that. And when I was there visiting with some of the farmers there, they talked about a concept I had not heard before, of agricultural tourism. So they bring people in and give them tours and teach them a little bit about agriculture and farm to table food and things like that. Is that something unusual, or is that a growing trend?
I'd say, especially in this region, is not unusual. It's a big industry. And when I came back here and to see those types of farms really integrate their operation with agritourism, I've only seen that grow the past decade. I mean, how do you get a small farm to be profitable? And you kind of have to make a lot of branches, right? And a lot of our students who've gone on to have fruit farms and things like that have to include or are including agritourism to bring people to their site for various ways for revenue. So agritourism is a huge growing industry, especially here in Missouri. And I'm glad you brought that up, because we, in the Farm to Fork movement, we recently had the realignment with the colleges across the university, and we gained hospitality leadership into the College of Ag. So hospitality, right? Well, there's so much connection for our programs to them, to theirs. So you think hospitality as the tourism industry, the food and beverage industry. I mean, hey, we're making the food and beverage, you're, learning and selling and utilizing the food and beverage. So they're really, the end goal, right? They know the end goal of the industry. So we're bridging those, programs, and we're starting already with programs to how can we bridge the farm to fork movement? Agritourism is a huge part of that. And I don't know the percentage in the state, but I mean, there's a lot of endeavors of agritourism. And I just think about every small operation, even large operations are including agritourism. So that's marketing, and that's knowing the hospitality and tourism side of things to really make your business grow. So that is a perfect connection amongst our students to bridge that gap. But you think about the food and beverage industry, how can we go from our production, our product, to creating secondary products and getting into the culinary, and hospitality is linked right with that. Hospitality is the second in tourism is the second largest industry in the state. So the first and second bridge right together. So we're excited for this program. I mean, there's a lot in the works to help figure out how can we bridge those programs, but also increase the agritourism offerings for our students. Because I know a lot of agriculture students want that kind of skill set, because they're gonna go out and do that. And I know a lot of hospitality students are interested in that because it's such a large part of the tourism industry. Thank you.
Good question. Other questions out there? Any questions? Yes, Kelly?
What's, I saw in one of the articles that promoted this, that you've done some, you and your department have done some research in drone technology and imaging. So I kind of understand how drone imaging would help with crop, understanding of crop health. But are you able to tie that into soil health as well, or are you working towards that?
So the question was a drone in connection with soil, soil and crop health.
Right, so the drone imaging, I mean, we can use it from a topographical, a view of the ground. Or you can analyze colors and get a lot of information, from that, like organic matter, and even they're expanding that into nutrient evaluation. So this might not be necessary, it could be a drone, or it could be attached to the back of your tractor. But I bet in my lifetime, the students who are going to this career field, they'll be driving sensors across the ground and getting the data that we used to have to do in the lab, right? So that technology is advancing very quickly. From the drone standpoint, right now we are utilizing it mainly to get crop height and crop stress levels, from trees to grasses and to, of course, row crops. But the soil side of things, you probably have to have a bare soil to get some data like that in a cultivated situation. But the technology for soil science is going to be really interesting in the coming decade or two. And my lab techniques might be obsolete of analyzing soil by then. That's a great question.
Good. Other questions? So one last question, going back to the Christmas candy stuff. Do you do that before November 8th, or is it after November 8th?
It is always the weekend after Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Sorry.
because we're all back together again November 8th. I thought that would be a nice thing. But it's still a nice thing. You can still bring them in, but yeah, we are all back here November 8th, where Paul Durham, research scientist, will be talking about genetics and health and the connection. But first, Corey, we wish you the best. Thank you for being here, and know that after you graduate and go on to better things, that you'll be in this tight-knit group of agriculture family, both the faculty and the alumni that is truly tight-knit around the country. So congratulations to you. And let's give our genius, Dr. Melissa Bledsoe, a round of applause. Thank you. And thank you for being here, and we will see you back here on November 8th when we have Christmas candy at the table.
No, is it good?
Yeah.